Hi, everybody. I am Eric Seymour. I've been a managing broker for about 22 years and just recently stepped aside from doing that and have been licensed since 1996. I've got 4 children and we've lived in the same house, unfortunately, for the last 20 years, even though I've wanted to move several times with everybody else. And I've just been a part of the relocation team now for about 4 years, even though I was part of the supervisory team to make sure it all happened in our office for years before that too. So glad to be with you today.
Thank you. So let's start with from the time we contact you and assign you with a listing referral. What is your process from that point until the time that you actually go to your appointment to meet with the homeowners?
So usually what I do is I will assess from your paperwork or what is sent to me, emails, whatever, about how urgent I need to contact someone. Of course, I need to do that within 24 hours. But if I need to do it right away, I will kind of stop what I'm doing and give a call to find out. My normal procedure, when I've got a little bit of time, I will go onto the county records and I will print off the information of the address, the subject property. I will go ahead and print out of Realist or Beacon or whatever service that is, everything that I can, even diagrams of the house. I will go into the MLS and print out if it's ever been listed before in the MLS, so I have that history. And I will look to see who's on title. I want to see who's on the deed, so I make sure that that matches the person who's the transferee. Sometimes it's not, or it could be more than one name. So I look at all that information, kind of get a history. If I have time, I will also kind of do preliminary while I'm in the MLS. I'll pull out some initial comps for their neighborhood if it's in a neighborhood, just so I have kind of a good rough idea and can talk with them on the phone with a little bit of education first. So then I'll make the phone call and try to be as pleasant and lovely as I can be, and let them know that I'm, available, what meets their schedule to try and meet that appointment. I will ask them at that point too if they are a first-time transferee or if they've done it multiple times. So I have an idea of their comfort level and what I might need to bring extra so that they understand the process a little bit better. Then we set up the appointment, and do you want to know once I get to the meeting, or?
So yeah, let's start with, I've kind of divided it up a little bit. So how much time do you typically set aside or plan on for an appointment? Once you get there, do you plan on viewing the home first, or do you sit down with them first? And, in regards to viewing the home, do you have any little tips you want to give as you walk through the house?
Yeah, when I set up the initial phone call appointment and we have that, I usually let them know that it won't be more than 45 minutes. I don't want them to think that this is going to be some long drawn out process. It is not. And in most cases, it's usually 30 minutes or less. I will prepare probably about an hour in advance of the meeting. Probably not more than that, but I will go ahead and do as much as I can, knowing that I have to do the ERC BMA down the road. I will try and get as many number of listings. I'll try to get the 3 listings, 3 solds out of the neighborhood and have those selected already. I will print out also, I always tell them that I have this, there's science behind the art of pricing, okay? So I will use, we have a proprietary product here that really kind of combines a lot of the online valuation websites like Zillow, eValuation, some of those. So I will bring all those together, including from RPR, the product that is provided from the National Association. I will do that as well. And print off usually about the first 10 or 11 pages of that because it can be quite lengthy and I don't want to overwhelm them. But I want to make sure that they understand, I look at this, I look at the assessed value of the home, I look at what it sold for last, I look at what the value is of, most importantly, what our MLS is showing. Because that's what an appraiser is going to look at too. So I will narrow that down too and do several versions. So I'll do the neighborhood, everything that's happened. If it's not a neighborhood, I'll do the best I can to get a good group of maybe 10 or 15 comparables. Then I'll narrow it down even more and say, okay, those were, that was everything in the neighborhood. Now we're going to go to 2-story houses because your house is a 2-story house. So we want to just look at those. So I'll narrow that down and I'll have versions and versions of this so that we can go through with them when we get to pricing strategy, and give them a range. I will never give them at the first appointment a number. They all want to talk about a number and they all want to find out, and I'm not going to give them a number ever. So we'll go through some ranges and I'll let them know until I have a chance to go through this ERC BMA. I don't know exactly what I'm going to put on that report, but I'm going to have a range that I'll give to you because I had to do some work before I came to your appointment and I haven't had a chance to see the condition of your house, so I didn't know it. So then we're going to talk about what we need to do to make sure your house is tip-top shape, so you might get at the high end of that range that I might tell them. So at the appointment, first thing I do when I walk in is, you know, the nice pleasantries. I will walk in and say, show me your house. Give me a tour. Show me everything you love about your house, everything you hate about your house, everything you would change about your house. And I want to just listen and hear, because that will give me marketing ideas and things that I need to write down, because there may be something I don't see that they've just loved about the house. Okay. Of course, I give them compliments where I can. I don't want it to feel insincere, but I certainly want to let them know, oh, wow, you know, the carpet that you upgraded, wow, it feels great on my feet. Like, this is awesome carpet. You did a great job selecting. It's very neutral, whatever the case might be. So after we do that for about 10 minutes or so, and I take a notepad and I am furiously writing down the whole time. Because I also know that if I'm going to list this property, I'm going to want to remember, is it a gas range? Is it a gas water heater? Those kind of details. So as I'm going through the house, I'll jot those down as well to make sure I've got that when I know. Then we'll sit down for a little bit and we'll go over some marketing strategies and then pricing strategies. I'll spend some time on marketing, and I use our nice little brochure that we have here. It's a really nice marketing piece that just kind of talks about in a real soft way. And again, I don't spend a lot of time on this. I'll spend maybe just a couple of minutes kind of going through the things that we'll do and some of the marketing systems that we have and how we share our listings with all of our competitors as well. And oddly, that is such a big deal for people. When they see that, they're like, oh, wow, you do? Yeah, we do, and have for years. I just have some other things that I've created too, like the top 10 reasons to list with me that I've pulled out of some of our marketing resource area. I will include also my, include my resume as well. Got a couple of pages with that so they can see. I don't spend a lot of time talking about myself because it's really not about me, it's about them. In the marketing, we'll talk about AdWorks and how we use that as part of our online marketing that we use that shows up in search engines and social media. And then where necessary, I will pay extra to extend that so that we have good coverage where everybody's searching in the zip codes where their home is. I'll talk about our Move Easy program too, which I think is a good complement to whatever relocation benefits package they have. They can tap into that and it's totally free. As a reminder, I will give them a layout of the transaction. So if they're a first timer, I will bring this so that they can kind of see, oh, once we have an offer, then what happens? These 3 columns show the title's going to be doing some work, we're going to be doing inspections, the lender will be doing some processing as well until we come to a final, everything's approved and ready for closing. So this is just a good visual for them, just as a reminder. I will bring also, since I tell them that the first showing happens online, with 90% of consumers searching online first before they contact a realtor, we want to make sure that their house looks amazing online. And so I feel like my job has changed over the years. Instead of holding the information's out there, but making their house look like something that someone wants to buy is the best part. So this sheet is just a reminder and a checklist of all the different areas of their house. And it's kind of categorized by tidy up, clean up, patch up, the finishing touch. And so it has just areas, the exterior, kitchen, bathrooms, and I let them just leave that with them so that they can go through what they need to do to touch things up. And I'll do that in the tour. I'll make some mental notes about that. And then when we're done and we're sitting down, when I talk about that sheet, I'll say, here's some things that you might want to do before We actually take photos to photograph your home. And I just kind of let them know, like, I can have my photographer in here. He's usually on standby, and usually within 3 days of you giving me the word, we can have photography. And within 48 hours after that, we can be live. So once they start hearing those things like, oh, wow, like, okay, I just pretend like I already have a listing. I walk in like I have it. So there's a certain amount of confidence that comes with that, and some experience too. But I just don't give them the option, really, that there's another person that maybe has come in, because I want them to list with me, and there are good reasons why. I will give them a sample copy of a listing contract and the purchase agreement, so they're prepared when a purchase agreement does come in. They know what it looks like. And then for the listing contract, ours are pretty simple, not a lot of blanks to fill in, but I want them to feel comfortable with some of the forms that we'll be completing when we have our second visit after photography. So that's what I do at the visit. And that, oddly, only takes about 30 to 45 minutes tops. I'll just spend the last few minutes taking some pictures and just let them know, your house doesn't have to look awesome. I'm just taking some pictures so that they know the rooms of the house and what they're going to be listing. So.
Great. You answered one thought I was having was about, you know, my agents always say, you know, they always want me to give me a number. So you did answer that during your talk. I know another thing that sometimes comes up is they might ask you, well, what closing costs are going to be covered by my relocation? And they start asking you about their benefits. How do you respond to questions like that?
Yeah, I don't know their specific benefit package. And I think a lot of people don't really pay attention to that. They know they're moving and they know they're getting something. So I always encourage them to talk to their relocation counselor, which may not be the same counselor that we're using on our site. And I just make sure that they have any of those questions, they need to contact their counselor because they'll know best. So I will share with them too that I'm going to give them a net proceeds sheet, which in a normal non-relocation transaction is what their proceeds would be. And then they'll have to match that up with what their benefits package is to make sure they know what it is they are and aren't paying for.
Right. So as you're leaving the house, any little tips on how you leave it with them?
Yeah, so usually how I leave it is I let them know that I'll be following up with them to find out if they have any questions about any of the paperwork. And when the report gets to them, I let them know that sometimes there's a little bit of lag time because the relocation company needs to process all of this and they need to get the other report in from the other competing agent. And then they'll package that up with the things that they do, and then they'll pass that then off to the transferee to review. At the last part of it, usually I just remind them about our photographer can be ready within about 3 days. And so I try to pretend like, oh, we're ready to go. Another thing that I've started doing, which I didn't bring a copy of, is I bring the first 30 days marketing plan, which includes everything from when the sign's going to go in the ground to when we're going to do the photography, all of that, so they can kind of see that there's a well laid out plan. We know that might change, but we leave that with them as well so that they know, oh, okay, this is when this will happen, and this is when we'll have the photographer here, and this is when it will go live on the MLS, and here's when we can expect showings to happen. So yeah, I try to put all that on a calendar so it shows action.
Awesome. So now after you left the house, do you have any little set things that you do from the time you leave that house to the time that they contact us and say, yes, Eric, you won the listing?
Yes, so I write a note that same day and drop it in the mail the next morning to their house, just thanking them for the opportunity to see their house, super excited to help them, and really would love to be, I try to phrase it this way, I would be honored to represent you, to help you in your transfer. I'd really like you to focus on your destination and not the origin here. Let me take care of that for you. So if that helps or triggers them to go, wow, this person really knows what they're doing and they're going to take care of everything and I don't need to focus on anything but my destination, then that's what I want to do for them. So I do that. I will follow up with a text within 48 hours and just say, hey, wanted to let you know. So after the report is turned in, that's when I will send a follow-up email and say, hey, just want to let you know the report has been turned into your relocation company. And I know that you all do that as well too. and it just kind of connects me to them again. And after about 48 hours after that's gone in, I will text them again and say, hey, did you have any questions about the report? Is there anything that I can help answer about the process? And I have found lately in doing that, I am usually winning the listings because I'm staying in contact and not just going in that first meeting and then just, oh, I'm done, and then hope that I get it. I'm staying in contact like we are going to move toward a listing date with them.
Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned that, because we do, as a department, once our agents submit that ERC, our department is required to review it. So we do review it, and then we submit it to the contact at BGRS. And then immediately after doing that, we send a email to the homeowners, just letting them know, wanted to let you know that Eric completed his market analysis. We have submitted everything required to BGRS, and just wishing them well again. And then we also then send an email to the agent, with this case it was Eric, saying, hey, we've got it submitted. And that way, like Eric said, he's notified that he can then say, reach out to the homeowner and say, do you have any questions at that point?
Yeah. And in the particular case of BGRS too, we have there's a survey. So we'll remind them too that they'll be getting a survey in this process to talk about how our services were, how our relocation company, relocation department, and the whole process, how it went. And so we remind them how to do that. And of course, we want to have the completely satisfied rating at the very top. So, and we love their feedback as well.
Yes, because we use our feedback for training, for improvements, just for reinforcement. And, you know, we like to brag about our agents on social media.
Yay.
So I want to thank Eric for sharing his time and his expertise with all of us here. And we wish you all very well in your future relocation endeavors.
Good luck.